So I bought this 300DX motor to get a few parts off of, and then I was going to sell the rest. It's got a busted case, and it's got some screwed up stuff around here. You can see where the chain busted out of case. The casing's on right there and there. But anyway, I figured if I was going to be doing this stuff and I didn't happen to see any videos out there about removing the top end, even though it's a pretty much the universal method for most overhead cam Hondas, figured I might as well do it. So basically, you could set top dead center, you could not. It don't really matter in my opinion. It doesn't hurt anything if you don't. Take off the oil line bolts. There's 3 of them. Once you get those off, set that stuff off to the side. Don't lose it because you might need it. Be mindful of the copper washers that may or may not stay on different pieces. Looks like there's none left on the head. Anyway, 300EX has all these 10mm bolts. Just go ahead and take them all off. Looks like some of them are pretty tight. Especially the ones on the exhaust side. You got to take this cam inspection port off to see inside of it, and get the last few bolts. Set that off to the side. Take this cam inspection port off. Try not to lose any of the rubber gaskets that are on these things. Take the last few bolts out if they'll come out. And then there's this last one that's an 8mm, all the others are 10s. So switch bits. Take it off, make sure all these are loose. And don't forget any of the bolts, because there are quite a few of them. There's ones on the back side of this. One right here, and that appears to be all the bolts. Next, you'll want to just rock this gently, and if you have to, you can take a hammer and gently, I mean gently, tap on these little spots right here. Don't ever tap right here, because that's where the oil line bolts, and you don't want to mess that up. But you can lightly tap right on these 2 things. And you heard the tone change, and you can grab onto that oil breather right there, or whatever kind of breather that is, and just make sure all the bolts are loose. Pull the valve cover off. That's that. Then what you're going to want to do, is while you can get to it easily, take this 10mm bolt out for the camshaft. And then if you can, roll it around, and if you can't, just get it to roll around somehow, and take the other one out. And these next few steps I kind of skipped just because I didn't remember to charge the battery on the camera, so naturally it died. So anyway, you gotta take the tensioner out. It's two 8mm bolts. It's located right here. And I also, off camera, I took all four of these 14mm studs out. Actually, they're just cap nuts. They all have a little washer underneath them. Be sure not to lose them. Also, right there and there is a 10mm Allen bolt. Be sure that the Allen wrench or Allen socket is in there all the way, because if it's not, you are pretty well screwed if you manage to strip it out. I try not to drop it in the motor like I just about did. These bolts are really freaking long, so just get them out. And you still have that one bolt left on the camshaft. If you have a way to make it turn it over. If you don't, sometimes you can grab a hold of the camshaft and slowly get it to turn, like I'm doing right there. But pretty much just take all these cap bolts off. I'm going to leave these studs in there just because. And you want to be sure not to drop the cap bolt, cap nut, or the washer that will eventually come off whenever you start to pull the head into the case of the motor, unless you're actually taking it off, and it doesn't really matter. But I'd still be careful, because there's always that tiny chance that it could fall into the bottom end of the motor, and then you have to split your case if you weren't already going to. Just stick your fingers on either side and just work the little washer around till you can get it to come up. Set them off to the side. Grab the impact. And take that last 10mm bolt out for the camshaft. Then drop that off to the side. Take the camshaft and gently pull it out of there. Set it off to the side. Drop the cam gear out. Just let the chain hang down there, because it's probably going to fall in. Set all that stuff off to the side. Then rock the head back and forth. If you have to, hit it gently, but it looks like I'm not going to have to do that. And it also looks like that I did not get that bolt completely out of there, completely loose. So I'll do that. There it is. And just rock it back and forth gently until you get it off the cylinder. And be careful of those two little washers. They might try to come off with it, like that one just did. Then the head gasket, the timing chain, the tensioner. You have to take this tensioner off after the head gasket, of course. Take this single tensioner off right here, because it will just slide right out after rocking on it enough, because the only one that's actually attached is the other one, but it looks like it doesn't want to come out. Next, if you don't already have it, you will need a 8mm wrench with either a 1/4" drive swivel, universal joint, or just an 8mm wrench and take those off, and I gotta go get one because I don't have one with me. Now that I got the 8mm wrench, you can see that it's a 6-point. I actually went and bought this one specifically just for doing this because I didn't like the 12-point. I didn't trust it because sometimes these are on here and they're corroded really tight, and these ones weren't that bad at all, but if they strip off, then you are absolutely screwed, because the only way to get them off then after that is to cut them with whatever you can get a hold of that'll cut them off, grinder, chisel, whatever. Just you can usually get your fingers in here and unscrew it by hand. There's just barely enough room. Then that camshaft guide, I usually like to try to remove it first, but it didn't want to come off. So you can use it, you can get it off whenever you take the whole cylinder out, but I usually like to try and get it out first just in case. But it just sits in the bottom of the motor, and like the other two things, to get it off you might have to tap it with a hammer lightly, or blow on it, or not blow on it, but shake on it awful hard. Be sure and blow off all this dirt, because right here is the seal and there's all that dirt there. So I'm going to cover this best I can. Okay, now that I actually got it off, or at least got it loosened, I ended up hitting it right here with a rubber hammer, and then on the other side right here. That loosened it up some, so now you can just kind of rock it and pull the whole thing out. You don't want to stick anything like a screwdriver or anything like that in between there. Even if it will help out the dowel pin, getting it off the dowel pins, you don't want to do that because you can ruin a seal surface doing that. And you got to make sure it's even, because if it's not coming up even, it's not going to come off. So you might have to push one side back down, and you may have to hit it with the hammer some more. There, you can get this guide out, and I'll just hit it with this, and there you go. That is how you remove the top end. It's not always the easiest way to do things or the gentlest, but it'll work. And to get the motor to roll over, just pull on the cam chain a little bit. Looks like there was a pretty decent sized scar in the piston, but I don't think that was from us, but it doesn't matter. This thing actually did run before it was taken apart, sadly, until it broke that case, and then it had to be taken apart anyway. So I hope this helps somebody, and hopefully before long my back will get better enough to where I can actually do some real stuff and do a bunch of different things with my other real projects instead of just these how-to videos pretty much.